usual script is flipped on this island, leaving the women as the big shots. Tucked away in the waters of the Atlantic Ocean lies the Basagos Archipelago, a collection of islands with a history and culture as unique as the sea creatures that swim on its shore. While most of the world is accustomed to patriarchal systems where men hold the reins of power, the Basagos Archipelago turns this on its head, with women leading the charge. So what's it like to live in a society where women rule the roost? Let's look at the geography, people, and empowering matriarchal structure that makes this island chain so extraordinary. The Basagos Archipelago, or Bahagos Islands, is an enchanting stretch of land off the coast of Guinea-Bissau, a small West African country. Picture a paradise of 88 islands, many of which are uninhabited, dotted across the sea like scattered gems. These islands have dense forests, mangrove swamps, pristine beaches, and abundant wildlife, from playful dolphins to colorful birds. With tropical temperatures and stunning natural landscapes, it's easy to see why the Basagos Archipelago has been home to generations of resilient and resourceful people. The archipelago is scattered over a vast area, providing a peaceful isolation that allows its culture and way of life to thrive without many external influences. Now, here's where things get interesting. Unlike many societies where men are expected to lead, the Basagos follow a matriarchal system. This means women hold leadership roles, making decisions for their families and the broader community. Women inherit property, pass down family names, and lead important ceremonies. They are calling the shots regarding marriage, family, and even politics. Older women, particularly the matriarchs of each family, wield considerable influence, ensuring that decisions benefit everyone from the youngest child to the oldest elder. Men, in contrast, often play more supporting roles, focusing on tasks like farming and fishing, while leaving the heavy lifting of governance and community direction to the women. One of the most striking aspects of this matriarchal society is how it fosters a sense of balance and respect for everyone's role. While men are respected for contributing to the family's livelihood, women are seen as the protectors of culture and tradition. This system is built on the understanding that leadership comes with responsibility, wisdom, and the ability to look after the community's well-being. This doesn't mean men are powerless or sidelined. Far from it. The relationship between men and women in Basagos society is built on mutual respect and collaboration. It's a partnership in which each gender plays a complementary role, ensuring that the community's needs are met harmoniously with the land and sea. A few centuries ago, Orango Island adhered to patriarchal norms, like many other places in West Africa. But that all changed when Queen Bamba ascended to power. Under Bamba's rule, Orango became where everyone thrived, and women's power became the backbone of the island's unique community structure. What fascinates Orango is how its societal structure developed under Queen Bamba's influence. The Queen prioritized cooperation over competition, crafting a system where decisions were made collectively, with women taking the lead. From family matters to community celebrations, women became the architects of harmony on the island. Even today, the community functions like a well-oiled machine, with women steering the wheel. Men often joke that their job is ensuring women stay energized from running everything. When we consider women's societal role, we often overlook their importance. Women are often the glue that holds families and communities together. For generations, Basagos women have held the reins of their society. They select their husbands, construct their homes, and orchestrate the daily work that keeps life running smoothly. Revered as spiritual connectors, they are seen as the vital link between the realms of the living and the dead. The village of Etikoga, located on the island of Orango in the Bisagos archipelago, is buzzing with excitement. It's a big day for this small village, which is the largest on the island, with just under 1,000 people. And while everyone is preparing for a grand celebration, two people feel extra special. Today isn't just any regular festival. It's Sarita and Dino's wedding day. Now let's talk about how Sarita prepares for the occasion. She is dressed in a saya, a traditional skirt that's as beautiful as it is symbolic. She's also got a wig on, adorned with necklaces and bracelets that add to her regal look. It's a whole outfit, a statement, and a way of showing her importance. On the other hand, Dino dresses in bold and colorful clothes, ensuring he stands out in a crowd. Like Sarita, he's also got necklaces and oils on, and they look sharp. But here's the catch. Dino isn't just dressing up for his wedding. Men like him have been dressing like this for centuries, with one main goal in mind: to catch the eye of the ladies. The brighter, the bolder, the better. Here's the twist. Traditionally, the Bisagos women choose their husbands. That's right. In this matriarchal society, women are the ones who ask for a man's hand in marriage, and they're also the ones who decide when it's time to end a relationship. It's a powerful role that women have played for generations. Sarita's mother and grandmother both chose their husbands in this way, but Sarita, she didn't have to ask anyone. With Western influence creeping in, things are shifting slightly, but the deep-rooted traditions still hold strong. Sarita and Dino have known each other practically forever. They were both born in Etikoga, so their bond goes back to childhood. Etikoga is just one of 20 inhabited islands in the Bisagos archipelago, comprising nearly 100 islands. Each island has its unique vibe, but they all share a deep connection to their roots, and each other as the Bisagos people. The Bisagos are part of a fascinating culture with a matriarchal society unlike anything else. In this society, women are the true backbone, driving life, decisions, and spirituality. Together, they practice animism, believing in the existence of a supreme being, Nindo, who is both the god and creator of all. This belief system ties the community together and gives them a shared understanding of the world. Nindo is like the cosmic CEO, who's too busy with big-picture stuff to pay attention to the little details of human life. Luckily, the people of Bisagos don't have to go straight to Nindo to get things done. There's an intermediary power, a spiritual middle manager known as the Orabok. The Orabok also connects the dead, the protective gods, and the natural world. For the Bisagos people, nature isn't just trees, animals, and rivers. It's full of these supernatural beings that influence every part of life. Beaches, trees, jungles, and even entire islands are seen as sacred. Imagine walking along a beach and knowing that the sand beneath your feet is blessed with divine energy, or passing by a particular tree that holds the power of ancient spirit. To the Bisagos, nature is alive with these mystical forces, shaping their fate in ways we can't always understand. Now let's peek at Etikoga, one of the Bisagos communities. Life here is simple, peaceful, and tightly woven by family bonds. The people of Etikoga know each other well. Everyone's familiar with each other's houses, routines, and quirks. Sarita, a resident, could walk you through every inch of the Tabanka, their village, with her eyes closed. But there's one place Sarita, and most of the villagers know, is off-limits. It's a mysterious, forbidden area that only a select few women can enter. These women are known as the Balabaras, or priestesses, and they hold a very important role in the spiritual life of Etikoga. The Balabaras are the caretakers of the Baloba, a sacred place where the Aranas, powerful supernatural beings dwell. The Balboa is no ordinary place, but a spiritual sanctuary where the balance of life, death, and everything in between is maintained. The Algebras keep the area sacred and ensure the Iranians are honored. It's a job with great responsibility and deep respect. Only the chosen women are entrusted with this sacred duty. The Bizago people believe their existence began with a divine woman, Ama Uvanga, the Great Mother. Ama Uvanga wasn't just any ordinary woman. She was a powerhouse of wisdom, strength, and creativity. The gods said she was formed from the land's richest soil and the sea's purest waters. She was sent to create balance and harmony in a chaotic and wild world. Ama Uvanga lived peacefully on the island, but felt something was missing. One day, as she gazed at the sunrise, she prayed for companion. The gods, moved by her loneliness, gifted her with 4 daughters, each born with a specific gift and purpose. These daughters would become the founders of the 4 great Bizago clans, and their unique traits still define the Bizago way of life today. The eldest daughter, Orakuma, was wise and naturally connected to the earth. From a young age, she could read the land like a storybook, knowing where to plant, where to rest, and where to hold rituals to honor the gods. Her role as the land's guardian made her the Bizago people's spiritual backbone. Orakuma's clan became the keepers of tradition, overseeing ceremonies and ensuring the land was respected. They were the ones who decided when it was time to sow seeds or call on the gods for rain. It's said that Orakuma herself invented the Bizago dance rituals, which, according to legend, were so mesmerizing that even the gods would pause to watch. Omenka, the second daughter, was wild and adventurous, with a heart that beat in time with the ocean waves. While her elder sister was content on land, Omenka was drawn to the sea. She would spend hours watching the tides, learning the ways of fish, and listening to the whispers of the waves. Her gift was dominion over the sea, and she taught her clan the secrets of fishing and navigation. The Omenka clan became the seafarers and fisherfolk of the Bizago people, providing food and trade. They believed that the ocean spoke directly to Omenka, and her descendants still left offerings at the shore, asking for safe voyages and bountiful catches. The third daughter, Oraga, was a nurturing soul with an affinity for all things green and growing. While Orakuma focused on the land's spiritual aspects, Oraga took a more practical approach. She was fascinated by the plants and animals, learning to cultivate crops and domesticate animals to sustain her people. Oraga's clan became the farmers and caretakers of nature. They knew which plants healed wounds, which could be eaten, and which to avoid unless you fancied a long nap. Legend has it that Oraga once tamed a wild storm by singing to it, proving her deep connection to nature. Her descendants still uphold her agricultural traditions, ensuring the Bizago people never go hungry. The youngest daughter, Nature, was the most mysterious of them all. She had a quiet demeanor, but don't let that fool you. She wielded the most unpredictable gift of all, control over the weather and seasons. Nature could summon rain to end a drought or sunshine to chase away a storm. However, her powers were as temperamental as the weather itself. Nature's clan became the meteorologists of the Bizago people, before meteorology was a thing, of course. They observed the skies and interpreted nature's signs, advising the other clans when to plant, fish, or celebrate. Her descendants are still known for their keen sense of timing and ability to predict storms long before arrival. Imagine a village so old that its first residents probably sat under towering trees, debating where to build their homes, only to decide, why not right here? The shades. Perfect. That's the bank of Idunk, the cradle of the Bisago people on the island of Orango. Idunk isn't just any village. It's the first settlement, the original blueprint for Bisago society. Every house here is a baloba, a simple yet meaningful structure surrounded by the mighty Kusaran trees. Like all great beginnings, Idunk couldn't contain its people forever. As the Bisago clans grew, they started branching out, pun intended, establishing new tabankas across Orango. Each new village carried a little piece of Idunka's soul, its traditions, structure, and, yes, its beloved Kusaran trees. Eventually, the wave of settlers reached Etikoga, creating a network of tabankas that stretched across the island. But no matter how far they roamed, they stayed connected by a shared heritage rooted in Idunk's soil. Bisago society is a well-choreographed dance of clans and a class system defined by age. Life stages are marked by initiation rites, where men and women earn rights, responsibilities, and a place in the hierarchy. Leadership in Tabanka needs to follow the usual rules. Forget about age or brute strength. Clan lineage determines who leads, and since lineage is passed down through women, they hold the keys to power. The kinglet, chief of the Tabanka, and the Baluberas, key female leaders, are chosen based on their maternal line. This matrilineal system places women at the heart of governance, making them the ultimate decision-makers in leadership. Now, what does the kinglet do? No, he's not lounging under the Kusaran tree all day. The kinglet is the ultimate guardian of natural resources, deciding when to sow seeds, when to let fields rest, and how to prepare for droughts. His wisdom is essential for ensuring the community's survival, but he doesn't rule alone. A council of elders, made up of men and women, supports the kinglet. This team of wise individuals helps steer the bank, balancing tradition with the people's needs. Together, they ensure that every decision respects the harmony of nature, community, and culture. Here is Augusto, the kinglet of the island, who's almost reached the impressive age of 100. He's a proud descendant of the Oraga lineage, a family with deep roots on the island. Now his son Simon has taken on a very important job, guarding the tomb of Queen Pampa Kanimpa, a leader so respected by the people that her name still echoes through the generations. The islanders still honor Pampa Kanimpa's legacy, and Simon watches over her resting place like a guardian of history. Pampa Kanimpa ruled in the early 20th century, and she wasn't your average monarch. She was a savvy, fierce leader who knew that sometimes diplomacy could be a better weapon than a sword. Despite having an army at her disposal, Pampa Kanimpa chose a path of negotiation when dealing with the Portuguese, who were eager to expand their empire into Africa. Instead of going to war, she agreed to pay hefty taxes to the Portuguese, keeping the peace for a time and protecting her people from the destructive consequences of war. After Pampa Kanimpa's death, the island underwent a remarkable shift. Following her death, women on the island gained more privileges and opportunities. The doors to education and business slowly started to open wider for women. Pampa Kanimpa's rule proved that women were just as capable of governing and leading as men, and her influence continued long after she was gone. But as with many powerful stories, there was a twist. Despite Pampa Kanimpa's efforts to keep the peace, the Portuguese eventually took control of Orango, where her tomb now rests. They established it as a colony, and the islanders were under Portuguese rule for nearly 4 decades. Augusto, now nearly a century old, remembers the tales of Queen Pampa Kanimpa's leadership as if they happened just yesterday. The daily grind is divided precisely on this island, but it's not your typical 9-to-5 routine. Here, there's a clear gender-based division of labor that shapes the rhythms of life. The men take to the jungle and sea, wielding machetes and fishing nets, like the island's true adventurers. They're the hunters, the gatherers, and the anglers, braving the wild to bring home food, resources, and stories of their daring exploits. Meanwhile, the women hold down the fort at home. Their domain is the household, where they're the heart and soul of everything from cooking to crafting to nurturing the next generation of island leaders. The island's economy is built around a few important activities. Rice farming is at the heart, with women doing most of the work in the rice fields. They also grow vegetables that help feed the community and sell to others. Fishing is another key part of the economy, with the men bringing fresh fish from the sea. The palm tree is another valuable resource. Every part of the tree is used, from the palm wine enjoyed during celebrations to the palm oil used in cooking and medicine. The islanders have found a way to ensure that nothing goes to waste. The palm tree is one of this island's most important parts of life. It produces palm wine, which is enjoyed during special events and gatherings. The palm tree's oil is also used in cooking, medicine, and rituals. The palm tree is a true lifeline for the islanders, providing many things they need. However, harvesting the palm tree takes work. Men must climb tall trees and carefully collect the sap to make palm wine. This is risky work, so the men care extra for their safety. Once the sap is collected, the whole community comes together to turn it into palm oil, working as a team to produce enough for everyone. But the palm tree doesn't stop there. It has even more to offer. The sap from these trees is turned into a beloved local treat, palm wine. This drink isn't just for celebrations. It's part of the island's social fabric. The process begins with harvesting the sap collected from the tops of the palm trees. Once the sap is collected, it's not simply a case of bottle and serve. It goes through fermentation. To make this happen, the sap is left to sit in open containers where it naturally ferments into a mildly alcoholic drink. The longer it ferments, the stronger it becomes a staple in the islanders' daily lives. But as with all things in nature, the sap's quality depends on the harvester's expertise. Let's step away from the trees and head into the fields. Rice cultivation is the primary agricultural activity on the island, and it's a big deal. From breakfast to dinner, rice is served in many forms, and it's so important that it could be considered a treasure. The islanders practice a unique form of shifting agriculture that allows the land to replenish itself. This method involves clearing small patches of jungle land to plant rice, and once the soil has been used up, the fields are left to rest for a few years. The earth is given time to heal, regenerate, and become fertile again. It's an eco-friendly system that ensures the land remains productive without becoming overworked or depleted. Of course, this means the islanders must move their farming efforts around, creating a patchwork of cultivated and fallow lands across the island. It's a system that requires patience, foresight, and a strong understanding of the land. But as any seasoned farmer will tell you, it's not just about planting and waiting. There's the issue of unwanted guests. And when I say unwanted, I mean hippopotamuses. Yes, you read that right. These huge, lumbering creatures are fond of rice. Specifically, the tender shoots sprout from freshly planted fields. The islanders have learned over the years how to keep these massive animals at bay. They set up protective barriers around their rice fields, like bamboo fences or thorny bushes, to deter the hippos from wandering in for a snack. It's a constant battle between farmer and beast, with the islanders always finding new ways to outsmart these colossal intruders. A meal without rice? Unthinkable. And it's not just plain rice. It's often paired with manga soup, a creamy peanut delicacy so rich and flavorful that it could make even the simplest meal feel like a feast. Preparing onga soup is an art. It begins with roasting and grinding fresh peanuts until they form a smooth paste. Then add onions, garlic, and a carefully curated selection of spices. This is gently simmered and then poured over steaming rice to create a comforting dish that feels like a warm hug on a plate. The process is communal, with women often cooking together, chatting and laughing as they stir the pots and add just the right amount of seasoning. It's as much about feeding the soul as it is about feeding the stomach. Occasionally, women can venture into what might be called masculine spaces. Need firewood to keep that rice cooking? Women will hike into the jungle, machete in hand, ready to chop. Need mollusks for a special dish? They'll wade into the shallows, deftly gathering the sea's treasures. There's no man's job or woman's job here. It's all hands on deck to keep the bank running. Fishing here isn't about fancy boats and shiny rods. It's about ingenuity. During low tide, families scour the exposed seabeds for fish, using simple hooks or even their hands to secure dinner. It's an age-old technique passed down through generations. Once the catch is secured, the real work begins. Fish are dried, salted, or smoked to preserve them, a necessity in the tropical heat. Some of the haul is kept for the family, while the rest is traded or sold, ensuring nothing goes to waste. Once a week, the island comes alive with the arrival of the ship bound for Bissau. Villagers swarm the docks, baskets of dried fish, fresh produce, and handmade goods balanced expertly on their heads. In Bissau, the goods are sold, bringing money to buy essentials not found on the island, clothing, tools, and sometimes a rare treat like sugar or soap. The ship's arrival is a moment of connection to the outside world, a reminder that even this small island is part of something bigger. When they're not cooking or fishing, women are weaving mats. These aren't just any mats. They're works of art made from local materials like palm leaves and reeds. The weaving process is meticulous, requiring patience and skill, but the results are stunning. These mats are a cornerstone of the island's economy, sold locally and exported to the mainland. Building a house here isn't a solo mission. It's a community effort with clearly defined roles. Men handle heavy-duty tasks like chopping bamboo or climbing palm trees for thatching materials, while women focus on the design and finer details. The houses, made of adobe, bamboo, and palm, are masterpieces of natural engineering. These materials keep homes cool in the tropical heat and cozy when the evening breeze rolls in. If you visit this island, don't be surprised to see a chicken casually strutting past your feet or a goat nibbling on a nearby bush. Livestock here lives the free-range life most animals dream of, though some lucky ones get stables when the weather turns rough. But the real treasures lie in the gardens. Women cultivate vibrant vegetable patches, bursting with greens, tubers, and herbs, often surrounded by makeshift fences, to keep the animals from turning the gardens into their buff. The healthcare system in Orango might not be what you'd expect from a bustling metropolis, but it's certainly unique and fitting for this island paradise. One of the biggest challenges is communication. The islands are so isolated that coordinating healthcare services with the outside world is impossible. There's no high-tech, easily accessible medical center around the corner, just the Etikova Infirmary, which is essentially the lifeline for the community. The Etikova Infirmary is modest, but is essential to the island's health. It's equipped with basic facilities, a few beds, consultation rooms, and a dedicated staff, trying their best to handle anything that comes their way, from diarrhea and breathing problems to the occasional bout of malaria. The infirmary does its best to treat the usual ailments afflicting the islanders. But for many, Consultations aren't just about curing an illness. They're also a way to detect potential risks that could lead to bigger health concerns, and, in some cases, the need for evacuation. If you think Western medicine is the only option here, think again. Orango's health care isn't just a one-way street. They have been passed down through generations. While you can get treated for your ailments at the infirmary, many still turn to local healers for guidance. After all, who wouldn't trust the wisdom of centuries-old remedies, especially when generations of island wisdom have backed them? One of the most notable healers on the island is Domingos, a man with an unparalleled knowledge of plants and their medicinal properties. He's a figure of great respect in the community because of his healing abilities and deep connection to the island's spiritual practices. Before Domingos gathers plants for his remedies, he performs sacred rituals, ensuring the spirits are with him and his work is blessed. In Orango, having a baby is more than bringing new life into the world. It's a spiritual event. According to local beliefs, giving birth helps ancestors return to the living world. This makes motherhood deeply special, as women are seen as a bridge between the spiritual and physical realms. Traditional midwives and healers help women through labor, using a mix of herbal remedies and spiritual rituals. While Western medicine is an option, the community's connection to their traditions keeps these ancient practices alive and well. Ritas Aga groups carefully organize Orango's society, and moving from one stage of life to the next involves special ceremonies. These initiation rites are essential for both men and women, and symbolize growth and maturity. One of the most important rites is the Fanado ceremony. It marks the transition to adulthood and brings new responsibilities. Women play a critical role here, as they also help guide the spirits of uninitiated men into harmony with the community. Speaking of spirits, they're a big deal in Orango. The people believe that the spirits of those who haven't completed their rites of passage return to wander the earth. Women are tasked with helping these spirits find peace and harmony, a sacred and essential role. Women are at the heart of Orango's cultural traditions. Take the Dance of the Dead, for example. It's a ceremony to honor those who have passed away. Women lead the dance, symbolizing their role in guiding spirits and maintaining a balance between the living and the dead. Education is a growing focus in Orango, and the Atacoga Nursery School is a step forward. However, running the school can be challenging. Limited finances make it tough to provide the resources the children need. Despite these challenges, the community has come together to support the school, led by a dedicated local named Segunda. For the Bisago, initiation rites are more than ceremonies. They teach kids about respect, family, and the skills they need to help their community. These rites start as early as infancy and guide children as they grow up. For example, kids might learn how to farm, fish, or care for elders, all of which play important roles in Bisago life. But today, many families are focusing more on formal education, like going to school. While this opens up new opportunities, it also means fewer children participate in these traditional ceremonies. Some elders worry that young people are losing touch with their roots by focusing on school. It's like trading a handmade family quilt for a store-bought blanket. It's just not the same. As the Bisago people look to the future, they face an important challenge, keeping their culture alive. Much of this depends on the younger generation, especially the daughters, who play a key role in passing down traditions. But with modern life pulling people in new directions, it can be challenging to the past, which is not always easy. Still, the Bisago people understand that culture can change and grow. They want to ensure that the heart of their traditions, values, community, and respect for elders is preserved.